Okay, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasha Allah, Koholun La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Chaha Kadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who did well, and that by the Spirit taught us His beautiful truth. Just want to say Tawada to all the H.I.M and H.I.M that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to the best of their ability. This is H.I.M Nawach. I'm just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. A little ride and drive. I'm actually driving, so I'll be roughly paraphrasing the scriptures, but I was watching this video right here. Great video too. Let me see the name of the channel again. They're going in hard on the comments. It says, this is Israel's worst nightmare. Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson. You know, and we advise, you know, matter of fact, let me subscribe to this guy on this channel. I see him all the time. I listen to it here and there, but haven't quite subscribed. But anyway, get a lot of good information, you know, from these colonels and from, you know, people that have a little more insight as to what's going on as opposed to what they're telling you Americans, man. You know what I'm saying? You Americans are not getting the news, man. They're not giving you real news, man. They're not telling you what the casualties that's going on over in these countries and what's going on for real with this war. You know, Trump, he made his speech last night, you know, at you know, it came on 9 p.m. last night. I didn't watch any of it because, you know, I was watching brothers with the Passover. You know what I'm saying? The camps was doing beautiful pre-Passover lessons. You know, just beautiful, reminding us of, you know, what we're into, Salakia, at the plantation. Salaki, I don't even know what this girl talking about. Just anyway, but yeah, but what this guy was going into, let me read a few of these comments. It says, Israelis complain about being in bomb shelters during Passover, but they were happy to bomb Iran in the middle of Ramadan, and of course they were overjoyed to be committing genocide in Gaza year-round. And these people going in on the comment boards, man. But this guy, you know, when he said that, you know, I went into the Google, of course. Let me see if it's still up here. And so basically what Google is saying, they, it says, yes, as of April 2nd, 2026, Israelis are celebrating Passovers in bomb shelters and underground parking garages. The start of the holiday on Wednesday evening was interrupted by air raid sirens and major ballistic missiles barrage from Iran, sending millions to protected spaces just as they were sitting down for the traditional Seder meal. So that pride, man, is really got them falling, man. The scriptures is real, man. Pride coming before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. Because those are some very prideful people to go along with these Edomites here in America. And then they're not the people. Right? They're not the people. When you go into the Passover, the Israelites were safe in their homes when the angel was passing over Egypt. It was the Egyptians that was being you know, their firstborns was being destroyed, you know what I'm saying, at that time. It wasn't the Israelites that were worried and, you know, about all these different things, you know what I'm saying? You know, the Israelites, all they had to do was what the Lord told them to do. Go into your house and don't come your ass out until in the morning, basically. You know, you will put the blood over the doorpost and all that stuff like that. You know, prepare the lamb the way that the Lord said to prepare it. You know, when you read through it, you know what I'm saying, just going through the process of what the Lord said, how to prepare, you know, and stay in the house until the death angel basically passes over, you know. So here you go, you got these people here in this day and time celebrating the Passover in a goddamn bomb shelter and in parking garages, you know what I'm saying. But you have the real Hebrew Israelites here in the Americas mainly. You know, we're scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. But, you know, the men of the Lord, man, they were comfortably in their abodes, man. You know what I'm saying? Just celebrating. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. You know, going into the scriptures. You know. So if these people are the real Hebrew Israelites, they shouldn't be going through that. And just prophetically, they shouldn't be going through that. When we go back into that land, there's not going to be no fucking bomb sirens. We're not going into no shelters, no bomb shelters. We're not going to be celebrating any of them. No, we're going to be at complete peace. There should be complete peace in the earth right now with them people supposedly being the Israelites, fulfilling that prophecy of going back into the land, which they're not telling you about any of the other Israelites. You would never hear them talk about the tribe of Asher. You would never hear them mention the tribe of Zebulon. You would never hear them mention the tribe of Simeon. You know, you would never hear them mention none of the other tribes. They just Jewish. We just bringing it out, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, they call stuff like this anti. But the world is starting to see, and they know, but the public. See, these top nations, you know what I'm saying? You know, when they go to school and they learn certain things. You don't think that those Persians, you know, that's calling themselves Iranians today, or you know, those are the original, you know, those are Persians basically, you know, and there are Israelites amongst them. But you don't think that, you know, going, you know, with Chinese and these dynasties supposedly 3,000-4,000 years old, they don't know the history of who's actually the Israelites and who's not? You don't think that they don't know that those people are not the Israelites? You would think that they would go ahead and just come on out with it. Now, some of them, you know, they say little things here and there, but they don't push it real tough. You know, like you had Vladimir Putin, president of Russia. You know, he went into the, you know, older vaults from thousands of years back or whatever, and pulled out those old icons of so-called Jesus and the disciples, and they were dark melanated people. And then you had these Edomites talking about, well, they look black because, you know, the pictures have been sitting in dusty in dust and all this other shit. They're dust covered. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, just trying to get around the fact that, you know, the Israelites were dark melanated people. Now, we look like all nations today, but you still have to go through the DNA of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to actually be an Israelite. Those people over there telling you that you're an Israelite through your mother. Basically, they're like, you know, you have to come through Abigail, Isabella, and Jessica or some shit. When the scriptures clearly says that your seed line goes through your father, according to Numbers chapter 1, and that's a part of the Torah. So why would they tell you that you're a Jew by your mother? Because you got to realize too, Herod, king of the Jews in the scriptures, that dude was an Edomite. But he was, you know, he had a you know, they had what today they would call mix, you know what I'm saying, an Israelite woman. But that's not how lineage goes, man. A woman has absolutely nothing to do with the ethnicity of the children, man. But these, you know, that's Esau. That lets you know this man is the devil, because he plays on words. You know, they do these enchantments and shit. Then you had these clowns, you know, at the same time they're doing their Passover on the same day that we doing our Passover. I'm thinking for the first time, I think, since I've been in this truth for sure. But, you know, you got this fucking, these motherfuckers supposedly taking off and going to the moon. Get the hell out of here, man. And nobody even care about that shit. That's the crazy part. That shit is not just, you know, it was on the news, you know, but nobody's caring about that, man. These people are like, man, when is goddamn gas gonna go down? When are these grocery prices gonna go down? Why the fuck can I afford rent right now? Why can't, you know, people going through it, man. And especially these single women. These single women had it gravy. It's not like that no more. It's not like that no more. They're not living it up. They're still trying. They're trying to hang on. But see, these men are not going for that shit no more. They're raising these children on their own. You're seeing a lot more videos of women just breaking down and crying. Hell, you seeing videos of dudes doing that. Grown ass men crying, boo-hooing. And it's because these people don't have no hope, actually. Scriptures talks about that too. You know, where there's no vision, I think it's entitled. But and then Trump, you know, I seen some clips of, you know, shit he was saying, and it's the same old thing. Matter of fact, the damn stocks, you know, the stocks went into a crash. You know, a bunch of shit failed last night when he was giving that speech because people not believing him no more. No, you know, all that, you know, they was, they just not listening to that shit no more. They like, this dude is a damn liar. And he's just weird as hell. You know, be saying all kinds of weird shit. So, yeah, things is getting, you know, it's getting a little tragic, man. But I find this to be interesting right here, that you're supposedly be the holy people. You're in the land, fulfilling the prophecy, supposedly, and you in the damn bomb shelter, celebrating your Passover. And then, you know, these people over there, you know, those Israelis, they're tired of that shit, man, because they're not living in peace over there. You cannot be the people of the scriptures and you're not at peace in that land, man. As a matter of fact, what did that, you know, that going back to that older Egyptian, I think, whatever his title was, he was on the front of Time magazine. And he said that once they got there, back there, you know, when they came over there, he was like, basically, you won't be at peace because you left here black and you came back white. So that man, he knew. But see, all these other leaders, they know as well, you know what I'm saying? But nobody is speaking up about it. No one is actually saying, you know what? Look, these aren't the original Hebrew Israelites. You think that these leaders would be standing up and saying that. But you know why? You know, if they said that, they would have to tell you who the actual Israelites are. That would mean that they would have to say, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans are the Hebrew Israelites. Now, all of a sudden, everything will have to change. Because what they just had, remember, they just had this UN meeting in 123 countries, said that this chattel slavery, you know, of the Americas, the transatlantic slave trade, what was the worst crimes against humanity ever, and looking for reparations. But see, they try to throw us in there with the mix with these goddamn Africans, and they know full well we're not Africans, man. And see, these countries gonna pay for stuff like that because they know we're not Africans. They know we're not the same people. Just because you have melanin doesn't make you the same as an East Indian. Hell, they got melanin. You know, everyone with melanin is not the same people. But see, they threw you in the mix of these fucking Africans, which the so-called Africans, they're gonna pay too, because they took part, and all these nations took part in the demolishing of our people, man. So they're gonna have to pay, man. It just is what it is. And see, things are starting to slowly come out. People starting to really see, all right, those are not the people. Maybe those so-called black people are the real Israelites. Maybe those blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, maybe they are really the Hebrew Israelites. People starting to question that now, and it's starting to come out more and more. So, you know, hey, we're in the last of this thing, man. Well, Salakia, I'm at the little job site here. Let me see something real quick. Yeah, and again, hey, this guy in this video too, though, man, he going hard as shit. And it's I'm not gonna play any of it, but yeah, he going hard though. And when you look at these comments, hey, people not with that isn't real shit. They not with it. And the elder made a great point from Dallas last night when I was watching the Dallas Passover camp, free Passover camp, and they were just talking about how, you know, those baby boomers, Them older people, when it was just a newspaper, you know, you paid the little newsstand, threw your little coin up there, you know what I'm saying, and grabbed you a newspaper, you know, and they was able to control the narrative from just the newspaper. Them baby boomers, they believed all that shit. But see, now you got the internet, you got alternative news. People don't watch regular news like that no more, because they already knowing that it's state funded basically. You watching anything that's pretty much, because you know Trump, he pretty much made the world believe that everything that's negative against his ass is fake news. And you know, but people, the younger generation, they not with that shit. They're not with it, because you do have, you know, all these younger people are not all just fuck offs. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them really do go to school. They go to college. They try, you know, they're really, you know, trying to make a life for themselves. They want a future. They want children. They want a home. You know, and you have millions of these younger Americans that think that way. You know what I'm saying? And they're looking at this shit like, okay, so they get free health care in Israel off of us. They go to university free off of us. And yet I'm $100,000 in the debt at a university here. And I, you know, health care is through the roof. You know, my copay is, you know, whatever. And they starting to see it like, you know, well, what, you know, and then not, they know that right now, the whole thing with Iran and the reason why your fucking gas is $10 a gallon damn near. I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you get what I'm saying. They understand that that's because of the isn't real people. They get it. They know. Let me see. It says tragic. We are a disgrace, a maniac, and a drunk with deadly weapons, and Congress is in a coma. Yeah. Said this is worse than war crimes. How on earth can the USA and Israel get away with this? Well, they can get away with it because they have the power. The Lord has given them the power to take peace from the earth, man. That red horse, that's Esau. They have the power. And eventually they will have to shut down this internet. You know, a lot of stuff they let go on YouTube and stuff like that. But they censor a lot of stuff when it comes to. But they can't keep up with it like that no more. You know? You think this would have hit national news? Why isn't they talking about this on, you know, you waking up with your morning coffee? They want to give you some bullshit about traffic. Want to give you some bullshit about the weather. Okay, that's cool. But why aren't you talking about the fact that, okay, while Trump is claiming they so-called winning, in that Iran ran out of missiles, and you know they're begging for peace and all this other shit, and as soon as you get on stage and you get to talking that shit, you know, in your little congressional meeting or whatever, these people letting fucking missiles go. Why isn't it on the news? You should be hearing about these people celebrating Passover in bomb shelters. You should hear about that. That should be straight away news. But guess what? They don't want you to hear about stuff like that because they don't want you to know that these people are losing, and it's a no-win situation, and they're not gonna stop because, you know, it's that chest pounding, man. It's that pride. Pride go up before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. They're too damn prideful to pull away and pull back. And you know what? That's the Lord, though. The Lord has placed it within their hearts and their minds to do that. And I don't, you know, yeah, I'll just, you know, just roughly paraphrase the scripture, you know, just to be on point here as I'm driving here. But that scripture that talks about the king's heart, that's Proverbs 21:1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. He turneth it whithersoever he will, like rivers of water. You know, if you've ever watched a creek, you ever looked at a river, you seeing it splash, it's going, it's turning around this curve, it's going up against the rocks, it's going up, you know, might see a damn tree limb in there, or a damn, you know, whatever, you know, like if you've ever watched white water rafting or something like that, you know, that's the Lord. Every single pickup of speed or gust or anything, that's the Lord, and he deals with these world leaders like that. And this thing is getting hot, man. And Trump, you know, stood up there, you know, from the couple of clips that I did see, you know, he basically stood up there, said the same old stupid bullshit. And this war is not over with, and it's not going to be over with. We're praying that it continues, man, and go ahead and escalate. I seen an article yesterday from this economist, and this dude was talking about how oil could go up to $372 a barrel. You know if that shit go, man, bro, if that shit hit 200, it's through. It's already through right now. I think it's above 100 right now, maybe about $1.25, $125 a barrel or so. But look, man, that shit hit 200. 300 is retarded, but this guy was talking about damn near 400. And the supplies is getting low. You can only run if you got certain reserves. You got certain countries that's actually like a matter of fact, this guy right here, the same guy in this video, he was speaking on Cuba. And you know, Cuba been in the dark for what, going on 2 months now or so. But they was talking about how they had to take the babies off the incubators to save energy. And see, you don't hear about stuff like this. This is how cruel America is. They don't give a fuck about you being in no hospital, no babies being in no hospitals, no elderly people being in no hospitals, man. Or no breathing machines or any of that stuff like that. They don't give a fuck. That shows you how deathly, just how wicked this man. He's the wicked. He's the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. He doesn't care about life. Those Israelis, they don't give a fuck about no life, man. You see how they was doing those Palestinians, man. Blowing up all them damn hospitals and shit. They really, them people over there fucked up. And then also in that video too, this guy was talking about how the IDF is helping, helping basically Israelis just, fuck up the rest of the settlers that's in the West Bank. The people don't have nowhere to go. You done backed them off into a little bitty fucking corner, and now you fucking them up in that corner. And so you seen that comment where they was like, well, how can they get away with this? Well, they can get away with this because they have the power and the might right now. And they're coming down with great wrath because they know that they have but a short time. They're trying to get that birthright back. They're trying to get, you know what I'm saying, the blessing back. It's a done deal though, man. These people are through. And so since they're losing this information war, the only thing else they have from that point right there is violence, man. And they're known for it. It's nothing for them to get into violence, man, next, man, because they have but a short time. Nobody's believing them no more. They can't just, say, all that anti shit. People not trying to hear that shit. Nobody care. That's like with the thing that happened here in Michigan with the synagogue or whatever with this guy. They've been trying to push it on TV, but nobody's tuning in. Nobody cares. It's like soon as people see that shit pop up on their TV, they turn from it, and so the ratings are down. Don't think that they don't know that the ratings, they can see, they can actually see that the broadcast is broadcasting to millions of people, and they can actually see millions of people actually turning the channel when that shit pops up. Because nobody want to hear that shit, bro. Nobody is thinking about them no more like that, man. All that, nobody is feeling sorry for them. No one is like, we must bless Israel. No, nobody trying to hear that shit no more. Because they've been trying to use the scriptures of, if you bless Israel, you'll be blessed. If you curse Israel, you'll be cursed. In the meanwhile, they're not even the real people. Guess who you cursing? The real Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You're cursing them. That's why your shit falling. And it's only gonna get worse, man. So continue to pray for the downfall of Esau, Edom's kingdom, man. We're in the, we're in the thick of this thing. It's about over with. And again, there's certain things we're gonna have to go through because of it. So we're praying to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai for, that spirit of endurance. Because the scripture says, those that endure to the end shall be saved. You got to make it to the end. No one is saved right now. Don't let these Christians fool you into that I'm saved by grace bullshit. That's not the way that the thing flows, man. Don't let them fool you into that.